She said, you ain't have a fight in recent times. You really not ready for this work. She said, it's natural. She don't have to. It's not even like talking about fighting. Sometimes people be needing hands put on them. And I love boxing. It's one of my favorite sports.
The way Remy Ma tends to fall apart the instant. Papoose finds happiness outside of her shadow is one thing that hasn't changed throughout the years. Rhee's responses reveal a very different picture for someone who boldly asserts that she is unconcerned by his new chapter. She seems to be observing from the sidelines with a bit too much curiosity whenever there is a new development about Papoosia's developing relationship with Clarissa Shields. Additionally, their friction is not new. Remy and Clarissa have already engaged in a heated online back and forth that enthralled social media as they squared off in the public sphere, originating from the same source. Papoose, what started out as subtle barbs turned into a full-fledged conflict, and rumors that Papoose could be getting ready to pop the question to the boxing champion have apparently rekindled Remy's rage. Many believed she would back down after Clarissa humiliated her in front of millions. Fans are so rattled by this. Triangles since Remy and Papoose weren't just another rapper for years. They were regarded as hip-hop's model for loyalty. Their tale was frequently cited as evidence that true love could endure in a field notorious for scandals, seduction, and treachery. Most people believed that their romance would end due to time and separation. When Remy was given a jail sentence in 2008 for allegedly shooting a lady. However, Papa shocked everyone by standing strong, refusing to wander and even marrying her while she was still alive. Rather than going on,
I don't give a fuck if you this. Just tell me stop screwing the business. If I found out you was the help, that could really ruin your image. We're talking Barack and Michelle, Pap and Rem. Us, y'all the poster child still.
Behind bars. His name was not associated with any unpleasant controversies throughout her more than 6 years in prison. Just the picture of a man supporting his wife by holding her down. At a period when faithfulness in hip-hop seemed like a fantasy, Papoose came to represent everlasting devotion. Another rapper's relationship ended due to adultery week after week. But Papoose's name was still untarnished. Fans were therefore taken aback when Remy started implying that he hadn't been faithful throughout her incarceration following years of devotion. A startling assertion considering how assiduously he had protected her reputation and encouraged her return after her parole. Papoose was waiting with wide arms, prepared to rebuild their future when Remy eventually went free. One of the most poignant moments in hip-hop history was their reunion. With the arrival of their daughter, Reminisce, in 2018. The couple brought their blended family together to form what appeared to be an unstoppable dynasty. It seemed like a picture-perfect fairy tale at first glance. However, fissures started to appear beneath the shiny surface. And by 2023, it was hard to ignore those fractures. At that point, there were speculations that Remy was dating Easy, the block captain, a battle rapper. At first, it appeared like nothing more than internet conjecture.
I strongly believe that sometimes people need to fight it out. Because talking doesn't do it. Sometimes you can talk. Like if it's certain situations, you could talk to a person. You express how you feel. They express how they feel. Y'all come to a mutual agreement that y'all either don't agree or, you might start seeing it from another person's point of view. When it gets to the level, or when you deal with people that, like, sometimes how I used to be, I don't even want to hear that shit. I don't give a fuck how you felt. I don't care what you thought. What's up? What we doing? And that's where I come in. She said, you ain't have a fight in recent times. You really not ready for this work. She said, it's natural. She don't have to. It's not even like talking about fighting. Sometimes people be needing hands put on them. And I love boxing.
However, when rumors circulated that Papoose confronted Easy directly and supposedly laid him out in front of witnesses, the rumors became more serious. All of a sudden, things went beyond just rumors. Tension at the street level was leaking into the public domain, and Remy and Easy took the stage for a rap battle against Jati, things became heated. Gotti, who is known for his brutal delivery, went right to the point and accused Remy of abandoning Papoose with ease while performing live in front of a boisterous audience. Metaphors were not used in its coding. It wasn't covered in ingenious bars. The crowd was taken aback by the straightforward charge. The entire story was turned on its head at just one instant. The duo, who had formerly been praised as hip-hop's strongest combo, appeared to have been betrayed. The same supporters who had previously praised Remy's allegiance started to wonder if she was the one responsible for destroying their heritage. And the irony is sharp now that Papoose appears to be going forward with Clarissa Shields, potentially towards marriage. The man may soon be creating a lasting relationship with someone else after waiting for Remy 4 years via prison walls. Remy finds it difficult to accept the fact.
Every interview, he showed his admiration and tell the world how he think his woman the greatest. That nigga held you down in prison for 6 years.
That statement didn't seem like a startling narrative surprise when G.I. Gotti spoke it. It seemed as though the hidden reality was being pulled into the open at last. It wasn't an outrageous or unfounded assertion. It held the weight of confirmation, the type that causes a whole audience to respond as they had already pieced it together in their hearts. The whispers and behind-the-scenes chit-chat that had been going on for months now burst into the open, magnified for everyone to hear. Furthermore, Gotti didn't simply drop the bomb and go on. He applied more pressure, breaking down the treachery one bar at a time. Every word was delivered with surgical accuracy, destroying her meticulously crafted persona until only the searing burn was left.
You want to know who my you got? You want to know the details? It's on the details. If you heard it, there's something to me over a female, and he ain't dead, it's probably because I still got the female, nigga.
Do you know what actually made the fire worse? Simple. There was nothing that the block captain bothered to shut off. Don't deny it. Not even a sloppy social media post to save his reputation. No damage control. Rather, he seemed to be leaning into it based on the way he handled himself once the murmurs became loud. There was no staged indignation or prearranged rebuttal, just this calm, even arrogant attitude that shouted asterisk. And what if it were true? Silence that didn't feel like someone was falsely accused is indicated with an asterisk. It sounded like a silent confession. Fans went into a frenzy over it, glancing at one another and thinking, wait, he's really not even going to. It appears that Papoose was not interested in portraying the distraught spouse following years of devotion. According to industry rumors, he didn't drag it out or put up a show after learning of Remy's apparent betrayal. All he did was cut the cord and continue to move it. No public pleading, no ugly breakdown, just a fresh start. Pap drastically changed the course of events, leveling up and going out with boxing champion Clarissa Shields instead of wallowing in grief. Both hip-hop and sports circles were rocked by that one action. Remy first attempted to put up a front, as though it didn't concern her, grinning in public and letting Pap's newfound joy pass her by. However, the facade was short-lived. Whispers say that behind the scenes she has been letting go, hurling subtle jabs, licking her own wounds, and opening her mouth as though she were prepared for a big comeback. And it's more than just small talk, according to street chatter. According to rumors, she has alluded to pushing things far further than social media, even implying that she could drag the altercation into real life in an attempt to regain Papoose's favor. Hip-hop held Remy Ma and Papoose as the epitome of loyalty for many years. Fans of the pair referred to them anytime they were looking for evidence that genuine love could endure in the competitive world of entertainment. Together, they had experienced almost everything: the industry's temptations, prison terms, and constant media attention. They always appeared untouchable, though, regardless of the difficulty in particular. Papoose established his reputation as the guy who never faltered by marrying Remy while she was still incarcerated and by never being implicated in a controversy. Before it wasn't, their love was marketed and sold as unbreakable. Since then, that well-cultivated image has crumbled into one of the most spectacular public splits hip-hop has seen in recent memory. The initial spark was the claim that Battle, rapper Eazy, the Block Captain, and Remy had a covert relationship. Before the now famous industry gathering where Papoose reportedly confronted Eazy and knocked him out. There were only rumors circulating online. Papoose claims that treachery wasn't the only reason for the altercation. It has to do with disrespect, as he had reportedly been with his wife behind his back after shaking his hand and looking him in the eye. Few could have foreseen the downhill spiral that began with that one deed and the punch that followed. In the future, Papoose rose rather than just moving on. Soon after, he was spotted going out with Claressa Shields, the unbeaten boxing champion. Neither did the two remain in the background. Together, they made an appearance in public, grinning at ease and communicating clearly without uttering a word. Soon after, there were rumors that Papoose was engaged, with sources even saying he had been shopping for rings. For someone who is renowned for keeping his personal life secret, these public appearances were more powerful than any news statement. He had finished glancing back. Remy, meanwhile, wasn't exactly quiet. What began as little jabs and subtle shades swiftly turned into a full-scale social media conflict. She started disclosing purported text exchanges between Claressa and Papoose. Emotional conversations in which Claria begged for constancy and certainty. "If you can't be with me or sleep on the phone, at least let me know you made it home safely," she said to Asterisk in one of them. An Asterisk openly making fun of the champion, Remy conjured up the image of a top boxer dozing off while awaiting Pap's call. She even went so far as to say that while Papoose was still lying on Remy's bed, he had dozed off while speaking with Claressa on the phone. The gloves were removed after that. Remy said that Claressa and her group had made up stories to paint her as the antagonist while portraying Papoose as perfect. She said that he kept her quiet, wouldn't publicly stand up for her, and even allegedly declared that he would never find Claressa attractive due to her appearance. In retrospect, Remy made fun of the comment with a trace of resentment. She said that after she released further screenshots, Claressa became agitated, feverishly blowing up Pap's phone and worrying about how her PR team would handle the fallout. Especially since she had a big film release coming up, Papoose finally responded with an uncommon yet incisive statement, breaking his quiet. He charged Remy with being narcissistic, fabricating a story to make himself the victim, and being unfaithful on several occasions. He said that he had previously made many divorce requests. He accused her of inventing evidence, but he denied ever attempting to have her jailed. He even said that while he stayed at home to look after his daughter, she had celebrated Christmas with Eazy. Then he made his most significant discovery. Remy went directly to wake Eazy up after he reportedly knocked him out at that industry function. But Eazy and Remy vanished for the next 4 days. Nearly instantly, Remy retaliated, accusing Pap of fabricating his story. She portrayed him as dominating, manipulative, and addicted to gambling. She said that he had isolated her from her loved ones, gathered private footage to use against her, demanded money for a clean divorce, and even sabotaged her battle rap league. She said that, in an attempt to portray her as weak, he made fun of her for phoning the police during their altercations. Then, in her most shocking accusation to date, she claimed that Papoose had physically abused her during a brawl in their garage, forcing contractors to break up the altercation and call the police. In her words, lying, she said, threatening to reveal both audio and video proof if he persisted. When Remy disclosed that she and Claressa used to get along well, the story got even more convoluted. Claressa was seen in screenshots wishing people a happy new year and even soliciting advice on how to look. I made a gigantic asterisk in reaction to Remy's new rivalry asterisk. Without hesitation, Claressa clapped back, referring to Rhee's behaviors as clowning. Remy responded by making fun of her age and making vague threats. Claressa remained focused on Papoose the entire time. She has said that he is courteous, encouraging, and different from anybody she has ever dated. Clarissa made it very evident. As Rhee's antics became more boisterous, even going so far as to challenge her to compete in the ring. February 2nd, asterisk included. Get this task done. Nobody was shocked when she posted the date and it passed without. Remy coming up. Fighting a two-sport champion was a risky move that can result in more than just their animosity ending. New speculations indicate that Ray has already moved on to other women, and his purported liaison with Easy seems to be collapsing under its own weight. The relationship between Papoose and Clarice, on the other hand, appears to be strengthening despite the pandemonium all around them. She finds it more difficult to observe the scene from a distance as Remy's outbursts appear to bring them closer together. What was once the most well-known love story in hip-hop has now devolved into a never-ending barrage of allegations, receipts, and humiliation in public. Furthermore, there are rumors that Papoose would pop the question to Clarissa, so the story is still going strong. However, one thing is certain. The days of Remy and Pap are ended. Although she may be attempting to set the world on fire, all she has accomplished is adding gasoline to the flames that keep Papoose and Claire's new tale blazing hotter.